Hi guys, so I know this is a bit of a different setup, but I've been having this idea for so long. I hope you guys like this kind of overhead shooting. I know the angles are a little bit off and stuff because I don't have the right equipment, but that's not going to stop me from making these kind of videos. So in today's video, what I want to do is I actually want to sort of build my own palettes, and I have a little empty palette here, so I think I'm going to use this. And we're going to be creating, I think, 3, possibly 4 9-pan palettes. It can also be 6, depends on, I'm going to take inspiration from different kind of pictures, so it's going to kind of depend on how I feel like, or how many colors I feel like the color story is going to need. So this isn't going to be like the setup throughout this video. I just kind of wanted to show you some of my single shadows. So these are basically all of my singles, so I don't have the biggest collection. So you can see there's a couple under here as well. Obviously a mirror is going to be really annoying, or maybe it won't, but I don't know. But these are all of my single shadows, so I think I'm going to kind of just clean up a little bit here, and then we can get into, you know, the main part of the video where I want to create these palettes. I have some inspiration already that I want to create the palettes from, and I will of course show you all of those as we go along. So let's get into palette number 1. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I decided against using the other palette because I don't think that it's going to fit if I put anything other than like very standard size shadows into it. So I'm gonna take my Lethal Cosmetics palette instead, and I feel like this is going to fit 9 shadows a lot better, hopefully. I don't know if the black background is going to be distracting when doing this, but we're just gonna try it. It's my first go around. Hopefully it'll turn out okay in the footage in the end. Maybe I'll be able to color correct a little bit when we are done. So I'm going to pull up my phone here, and I'm going to show you the first picture that I want to take inspiration from. So this is basically where I want to start at, because I am the kind of person who, I love snow. I like the look of snow, but I hate being in snow. And so I want something to, you know, be able to remind me of winter and just like the beautifulness, is that a word? The beautifully, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think that anywhere that has snow is just so gorgeous, and I want to be able to build a palette around that. And I saw this picture on Google and I was like, this is just stunning. I love the contrast between the cool and warm. And I know there are a lot of palettes like this that already exist on the market, but I want to see if I can make this into something a little bit different. And I feel like if you saw a palette with this cover, you would be intrigued, because I know I would. So we're just gonna go ahead and start. So the first thing that I think of when starting my own color story is that I want there to be a dark matte that I can deepen things up with. So I'm thinking I want to bring in some kind of a very dark blue here. I'm going to kind of swatch these out after we are done putting together like the first draft of this. And I also won't tell you the shadows, what they are, who they're from and stuff, because that's going to take too long. So let's get into some maybe like a warm tone here. So I'm thinking I want definitely some kind of an orange, maybe like a bright orange. Now obviously my singles collection is not perfect, so there's definitely going to be a lot of gaps that, you know, I wish I could put in, but I simply just don't have. But I do have a kind of bright orange, so I think we're gonna pop that in here. So this is where we are at to start off, and I am also thinking that I want to have something that's going to be symbolizing the snow, so we need something that's very, very white. And I'm thinking I want to do a shimmer for that. I don't know if I have a white shimmer in my collection, but I definitely have something that is very light that I'll be able to use. So what I'm thinking, I might go in with something that is more of a blue here. So this is a very light blue shimmer, and I think that could be really nice. And I definitely want to bring in more blues as well. And I'm thinking I want to have maybe another blue shimmer to go with this, because I know for myself when I'm working with shadows, I tend to prefer to have 2 shimmers that are sort of in the same color family, so that I can, you know, lay them down next to each other. So I do want to pull in something a bit darker when it comes to a shimmer now. So let me see what I want to do for like a color. I don't want anything that's shifting like turquoise or anything like that. I just want like a blue. So I'm thinking maybe something like this. I think that could be really pretty. I'm looking at these 2 up against each other, and I think those would layer really nicely. Actually, let's do some swatches, because why not? So this isn't like the most pigmented kind of light blue, but I still think those are going to work really nicely together. So now we have like sort of the, I guess, base that we can start off with here, but now we need to think about how are we going to use these like in an actual look. So obviously it's really tough to blend orange into a dark blue, so you want to have something that's going to make that transition a little bit easier. So either you want to put something that's going to go with the orange that you can either build with, or have a lighter shade to each of these shades. So I'm thinking I want to probably go in with some kind of a light blue matte as well, because obviously like the blue tones in here are going to be the main focus for me because like the snow is like the focal point in the picture, I feel like. So I definitely want this to be mostly like blue tones. So like I said, I want to go in with something that's a very light blue matte. And I'm thinking I'm gonna pull in something like this. This shadow is sort of like in between these two when it comes to depth, and I feel like this is going to make for a really nice gradient. Like you could easily just use these two in your crease. Now the thing is with the orange, like obviously you need something to go with the orange. You can't just use the orange. I mean, you could, but you definitely want something to sort of go with that. So I'm thinking something maybe like a maroon purple kind of color, because I do feel like there's a bit of that when you look in the sky and you see the tones in there. There's definitely a little bit of purple going on in here. So I'm gonna try to pull in some kind of a purple. I have one in my, this is a palette full of all of my square shadows because I just didn't know how else to store them. And I'm thinking this lethal shadow here might look kind of nice in here. Like it would just bring a little something extra, and it would be something that would go really nicely with this orange. So I think I'm gonna pop this one out and we're gonna put that into this palette. So if you're someone who's a little bit OCD about shadows not matching up, I'm so sorry, I'm ruining everything for you, but this is more about the color story itself. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to swatch all of them so you can see like the color story on my arm. And maybe that'll give you a better picture of like everything put together instead of seeing like circles and squares. So next up, I am thinking that basically with this palette, you're very much stuck with having blues on your lips because of the two shimmers are blue. So I want to bring in something a little bit more warm tone as well. That could be used to do more of a warm tone only look if you wanted that. So I'm gonna find some kind of shimmers that I want to go with this, and I'm thinking maybe some sort of a bronze would be kind of a unique twist to this. I don't want to go just like bright orange. I'm kind of leaning towards something with a bit more of a bronze shift in it, but still leaning on the warm side. So maybe something like this could be nice. I don't know where this is from. Oh, Cosmic Turtle Cosmetics. I actually really like that brand. So I think that could be kind of fun. And I like that there's no browns in here because I feel like that's what every brand would do. They would pull in some kind of a brown to go with the orange. But since we went in with this instead, I feel like this is kind of turning into something a little bit different. Now, I don't really know where I'm going with this next. I am tempted to pull in some kind of a very light yellow shadow, but like a shimmer. I feel like that could look kind of nice because again, I do want to keep it to mostly like blues and warm tones. So let's see if I have maybe something like this one. This is another one from Cosmic Turtle. I feel like I keep gravitating towards these shadows, but I think that could look nice. Now the question is, what do we want to do for like our last shadow? Like what is missing in this palette that I'm seeing in this picture now? Like I feel like the one thing that is missing in this palette is just a primary blue matte, but I don't really have that in my collection. So I feel like that is what I would put in here if I had the choice to, because there's almost like something is missing in here that is in the picture, and it's something in between these two shadows right here. And I don't want that shadow to necessarily be a shimmer, which I definitely do have, but then we're gonna have too many shimmers because now it's like half and half. We have 8 shadows, and I prefer to have more mattes and shimmers in my palette, so I do want the last shadow to be some kind of a matte ideally. Not really sure. I'm thinking I could definitely go with a black, but since we have this very dark blue, I don't really think we need it. So maybe something like a lavender matte, because I feel like that could be used with the warm tones and the cool tones. So maybe something like this would look kind of cool. So maybe this is going to be our color story. I want to see if maybe I have this in a circular pan as well, something that's similar. Is that going to be the same? I mean, that's pretty much the same. Just to make this a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to look at, I'm going to swap this out because this is honestly annoying me a little bit, and I'm not really an OCD kind of person, but if I have the option to, I'm going to put this back in its place because we did have a shadow that was very similar. So basically this is going to be the color story all done. I don't know if I would necessarily arrange them like this. So let me try to kind of rearrange this in a way that I feel like would be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing for my eyes, which means something that inspires me. I hate when colors are like very organized from lightest to darkest and stuff. I like them to be a little bit scattered. So I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of magic to this, and then we're gonna swatch these out and see what the first palette is going to look like. this is going to be the color story all complete. I really hope that the camera is picking up like the undertones of the shadows here. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these real quick for you so you can see what they look like, and I'll also tell you where these are from. So let's start with this first one. This was from Cosmic Turtle Cosmetics. It's called Ethereal. Then right next to that we have Bratty by Colourpop. This next one is Tundra by Clionadh Cosmetics. Pretty sure this is from Clionadh as well. This one is called Aurora. And then I already know this one is from Glaminatrix just by looking at it because it's so heavily packed. There's so much in here. This one is called Icicle. Look at this. And here is a shadow from Sydney Grace. This one is called Indiana Love. Next up from Devinah we have Cupid. Then we have Sleeper from Colourpop. And lastly from Cosmic Turtle Cosmetics we have Ludo. So here is the first color story all set. See, I would actually buy this palette if I saw someone release something like this. I think this color story is very unique and I like the different kind of tones that are in it. I feel like it's very representative of the photo. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you changed anything. Do you feel like anything is missing in this? I feel like this turned out pretty good and I really enjoy like putting together color stories that are based on, you know, just different things. It could really be anything. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this because this is so much fun to do. I would love to do this on a regular basis, just like kind of designing and having fun with my singles, since I don't really feel like I actually get to use them enough on my eyes. So doing something like this, it's just a good way to sort of play with what I already own without having to film looks with them all the time. So yeah, let me know what you think. This is going to be the first little palette, and I think we're just gonna go ahead and do two because otherwise this is probably going to be a way too long video and I would rather break this into separate parts. So let's go ahead and wipe this off. I'm going to put all of these back in its place and then we're gonna go ahead and do another palette. Okay, so for the second look, I want to do a Northern Lights inspired palette. I've been wanting to do a look inspired by Northern Lights for so long. So obviously the first thing that we're gonna need is going to be a black because the sky is black, we need some black. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's the first color that I think of when I think of making a palette with Northern Lights because it's nighttime and I just need a black. So unfortunately I don't have a round black because the one that I did have actually broke a little while ago, so I'm gonna pull out this one, which is from Lethal Cosmetics, and I also know I really like this shade, so that's going to be perfect. So obviously this is not going to be a probably aesthetically pleasing palette because we're starting off with a square shape here, but that's okay. We're gonna have that as the middle shade and then we're just gonna build around that, I think. So let's go ahead and see, what do we want next? So we obviously have a dark matte now, and now we need to go ahead and find some other mattes that are going to kind of work with this theme. I like to sort of think of everything in terms of how is my crease going to look, and so that way I need to build my mattes around that. So I do want to have some kind of pastel-y bright mattes, and the one that comes to mind is from Clionadh, and this is probably my favorite single shadow in my collection. This one is called Ice Algae, and it's almost like it's got a bit of a blue-green shift to it. I don't know how well you can really see that on camera, but have you ever seen a matte like this? Like, I just think that that is such a unique color, and I feel like the Northern Lights are so unique as well, so this is just perfect. So I definitely do want something a bit on the pinky side as well that's going to be kind of bright. I don't know whether or not I want that to be a shimmer or a matte yet, but I think we're gonna go ahead and just put in a matte and see how it is looking. So I'm gonna put in a bit of a neon here because I just feel like the Northern Lights are very bright, or maybe they're not bright. Maybe in my mind they're bright. I've never actually seen them, so I can't tell you. But this is just kind of what I thought about. You know, this color story definitely might change as we go along, but I just want to put that in here and just kind of take it from there and see how it goes. And I'm also thinking some kind of a duochrome would be really nice in here. So what I'm thinking is that I want to pull in this shadow right here, which is from Glaminatrix. It's called Peacock. It's almost like a black with a green blue shift to it. I don't know how to explain it. It's very metallic and beautiful, and I feel like this, since it has a bit of a green shift to it, is going to go really nicely with this other matte that we have. So I'm gonna pop that in here. This could also make for a beautiful black smoky eye with like the black in the crease and this one all over the lid. Ooh, this one in the inner corner. Oh my god, can you imagine? That would be a beautiful look. So what else do I want to do? I'm kind of thinking I want to play a little bit more with some duochromes, just because, I don't know, it's just fun. I like duochromes a lot. And I'm thinking I next want to pull in some blues here for the sky. This one is absolutely beautiful. This one is almost like a blue turquoise shift to it. I love this. This one is also by Glaminatrix. I'm gonna pop that in here because I feel like having that kind of green theme, green blue theme within these colors is going to end up looking really nice in the end. I also want to pull in another blue matte, so I'm gonna try to make some room. I actually have one in mind, and it's one of the larger pans, which kind of sucks because it's not gonna look that good in this palette. But the one that I'm thinking of is from Give Me Glow, I'm pretty sure, and this one is called Sky High. And it's about to break on me because it wasn't stuck to the pan, so like the whole shadow kind of fell out of the pan, and now it's very loose and cracky, but it's okay, we'll save it hopefully. So I'm thinking next maybe I want to do something that's going to go a little bit better with this pink here. I feel like it's more of a standout shade in this palette because it's almost like in its own little family here. Obviously it goes really nice with the blue. You can definitely mix the pink into the blue and make a bit of a purple. That could be really nice, but you could also of course deepen the pink up with the black. So you still have a lot of possibilities here and things to work with. I also do feel like, however, that I need some kind of a lighter shimmer to go in this because there's not really like any inner corner shades in this. And you guys know how much I love to have a good inner corner shade, and it needs to be something that's pretty light. So let me see what I can grab that's going to look nice with this color story that we have going on here, and it's also going to fit with the theme. And I'm thinking I want to pull in one of these iridescent multichromes from Clionadh. This one is absolutely stunning, and you'll be able to see it a lot better when I swatch it out, but it's a white with a bit of a peachy shift to it. I don't know how to explain this, but we're gonna pop that baby in there. And then I think I want two more shimmers possibly. Not really sure. I feel like this one is a lot harder for me for some reason than the first one was to kind of curate and get a good color story out of. I'm thinking something like a purple shimmer would look good in this as well. I don't know if I want it to be like more of a dark purple or maybe something right in between. Maybe something in this color family right here. And then for the last shade, I don't really know what I want. I'm thinking I kind of want to do something a bit yellow. Just because of when I think lights, I think yellow, even though the Northern Lights don't really have that much yellow in it. Let me just Google some more pictures here and see if I am completely off. Yeah, so it doesn't really look like there is a lot of yellow in here. I do feel like, however, I might be missing some kind of a electric kind of lime greeny shade. Do I want to pull in a matte for that, or do I want that to be a shimmer as well? Because I definitely have options in both of those. I feel like greens are like the category that I'm not missing much from, except for a primary green. That's like the only thing I don't feel like I have in my collection. What if I pull in something like this? Is that going to be looking cool? I don't know, guys. I don't know what it is that is missing in this. I feel like I need something that is green, but I just don't know exactly what kind of a green it is that I'm looking for. I could also go with something a bit like bluey green. Oh, that is beautiful. Maybe that is what I'll do. These do not fit in this palette at all. That is the most random palette I think I've ever put together here. Let me see if I can reorganize these a little bit and just make sure that all of the shadows are fitting into this palette. All right, there we go. So that doesn't look like a normal palette at all, but I think we're just gonna leave it like this. It's kind of weird. It's kind of, I don't even know, it's kind of mysterious. I don't know, I'm excited to swatch this out. I feel like this is going to be my complete color story. I feel like I like this a lot, so let's go ahead and swatch these. So I'm not going to take these out of the palette because I'm worried about this blue here breaking because it's very fragile, and they're also kind of like stuck together, so I don't want to try to rip all of this apart right now just to tell you the names. So I'll of course have all of these listed in my description box as the palettes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch this. So here is this color story all swatched out. I feel like there's a lot of very unique shadows in this, and I think I could create some really cool looks with this color story. Let me know what you think. The only thing that I feel like might be missing is another sort of dark matte. I feel like there should be something in between this blue here and this other, or this black and this blue. Other than that though, I'm really happy with this. So yeah, I want to buy both of these palettes, even though I mean I already have them, but I want there to be like an actual palette made. I don't know what it is about having like a palette with a curated color story that's like put together and glued together and you're stuck with that. Like that's part of why I like palettes so much, just because you don't have the option, like you have to just use what you got. And I want a palette just like this, even though it's right here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this kind of a video. I had so much fun making this, and I would love for this to be a series that I have going on my channel. Let me know if you feel like 2 is going to be enough for each video. Let me know if you want to see more quads, maybe like a 12 pan palette, maybe a 6 pan. I know in this video all we did were 9 pans, but 9 pans is like the perfect color story to play with in my opinion, because I feel like it gives you enough room and opportunities to put in enough shadows, but it also restricts you in that you can't just put in like 5 blues and 6 yellows, you know what I mean? So I am really happy with these. Let me know what you think. I would say if you want to see some similar content, you can click on one of these videos, but I don't really have any similar content. So if you want to see something else, I'll just pop something up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!